This is a video to show the installation steps for the L750 fertigation system for the Santos Laguna soccer stadium and fields. It will walk you through the steps to properly install, calculate and operate the fertigation system. Now let us get started. These are the 6 simple steps to install the L750. First, mount the enclosure. Next, install the flow sensor manifold in the irrigation line and run the flow sensor cable to the controller. Next, install the pump in the enclosure and connect the motor cable. Next, install the discharge manifold and connect the discharge hose and connect the hose to injection valve. Install the suction fittings and connect the suction hose. Next, run the suction hose to the tank and install the Y strainer and suction manifold and the tank valve connection to the tank. The first step is to install the enclosure on a wall. It should be installed close to the irrigation line. The flow sensor cable is 25 feet long. If it is further away, you will need to add cable and hose for the injection line. It should also have 120 volt AC power at the mounting place. Mount the enclosure secure on the wall. The next step is to install the flow sensor manifold using the quick fix connection. Once you install the flow sensor manifold, you can run the cable inside the conduit we included to the enclosure and run it into the enclosure through the conduit fitting. Install the flow sensor manifold in the line well, and if it is installed below ground level, you should install a valve box around it to access it for future service. When you are done, you can pressurize the irrigation line again. Next, connect the flow sensor cable to the terminal block on the inside. Pull the terminal block off the Velcro and connect the wires, red to red, white to white and black to black. Then reattach it to the Velcro. Next, fill the pump with oil and fill to sight window. Then place the pump in the enclosure. Next, connect the motor cable. Open the junction box on the motor and run the motor cable inside. Connect the red to red, and black to black and green to green. The other blue covered wires are for recalibrating the drive after new irrigation designs are done in the future. Once the wires are connected, put the wire in the box and replace the cover. Next, install the discharge manifold. Make sure the O-ring is in place. Thread the clamping nut on the fitting and hand tighten only. The O-ring will seal. Install the half discharge hose in through this hole and put the hose clamp on the end, and apply blue thread sealer to the hose barb to make the hose slide on easy and tighten the hose clamp. Next, install the suction valve. Again, make sure the O-ring is in place. Thread the clamping nut on the fitting and tighten hand tight. Next, install the suction hose to the pump suction fitting. Put blue thread sealer on the fitting. Put the hose clamp on the hose and slide the hose on the fitting and tighten the hose clamp. Next, run the suction hose to the tank and install the Y strainer and the suction manifold in the line. Install the tank valve in the tank and connect the hose. The second tank can be added to the manifold if needed. Next step is to plug in the power, switch power on and set the operation to manual, and the pump should start running. Next, switch to auto and run the irrigation and the pump should run in auto. Next step is to fill the tank with water and prime the pump. To prime the pump, connect the prime pump to the bleed tube, open the bleed valve and pump the prime pump and watch for fertilizer coming out in the clear bleed tube. Then close the bleed valve and put the prime pump away. You are primed and ready to test the injection. Turn on the fertigation and set it on manual and set the pump knob at 100%, in all the way, and let the pump run. You will be pressurizing discharge hose and you can feel the pump pulse in the hose as it injects. Next, install the mixer pump to the fertilizer tank. It is in a filter bag to keep stones and particles out of the pump. Place it in the tank. Now you can add fertilizer to the tank. Add urea and plug in the pump to circulate the mixture. You can add up to 350 kilo bags of urea into 150 gallons of water. Now the fertilizer mixture is ready to inject with the fertigation system. Next, calculate the injection rate using the video by scanning the QR codes. And set the pump rate. Last, check the pump rate. Check all the manifold and tank valves are open and ready to inject. And check the irrigation schedule. And fertigate with the next irrigation. After, check the tank level to monitor the amount of fertilizer that was injected.